Oh my God, everything you ever wanted to know about repairing a snowblower literally is in this 3-part series of this, well, actually pretty nice Craftsman 30-inch snowblower. This thing's a nice machine. It's a cool machine, only because we're making it nice, but it starts off with, it's got good bones. Somebody really screwed this thing up. So it's like pretty much everything you ever wanted to know is in one machine. But at the end, fellas, this is the last episode, part 3, and what we're primarily going to do in this part is we're going to chase out that friction wheel. Now, on this machine, it's a little bit different than some of the others, so it is an earlier version. This thing's like 22 years old, and I'm going to show you a bit about that, how they did a little bit of an improvement on it for later subsequent machines. But still very fine nonetheless. Everything is still available for it in case you need something, so don't worry about that. You should go find one of these things. They're really cool. Of course, green, one of my favorite colors. I really like this machine a lot. So we've got a little bit more to do, and then we're going to be able to adjust the cables / rod, actuator rod, because now we're going to have some of those clearances that, the functionality restored to a more of a factory spec, so we can bring things back to a more reasonable adjustments. We're going to get real close on those adjustments too. We're going to dial it in as tight as we can get it. We got to get rid of 6 gear, and there's a few other things happening in here, so we're going to go through all of that. So pretty much, yeah, everything you ever wanted to know about dialing in and repairing a snowblower is in these 3 parts on this machine. Stick with me on this one. We're almost done. We'll get you out of here on this last part. Part 3 coming up on Archer's Garage. All right, fellas, since it's a little late in the day and I got other things going on, we're going to spray some of this old black magic oil. Hold on, I'm in my light, I'm in your light. So you get the idea. We're just going to spray it around. Since I'm going to paint the machine, but it's not going to be today, I figured I'll just drip this on. Why ruin like fresh paint anyway? So I'll do this now, and I'll let it drip and wipe it off, and then I'll bring it in a little while. There you go. Kind of nice. I mean, you don't need to do very much. It's just a pair of shoes. Nice thick shoes. And there's still meat on here. They're leaning on one end, but same material, like 1.5 inch stock. So I put a different one on. Like this one here is one that I had because it still has material on the bottom of the shoe, whereas the other one didn't. Let me just wipe these off. I'll throw a little black on them. You know what these are? I think we can use them. I just kind of ground them up real quick with the Milwaukee. Wipe them down, throw a little paint on them now. Might as well while I'm doing all the other cleanup and paint. It's kind of nice out. It's tolerable, but it's getting late. Hey fellas, while it's out there dripping, I took my little Scotch-Brite cookie and a wire wheel, and I just hit a few spots. You know, nothing serious, because it's full of oil and I'm getting dirt on it and everything. And this has just been out here dripping. I think what we'll do is we'll take this plastic off, and this will try and glue back, you know.
Later.
Wow, fellas. Well, I did the right thing, which, I generally don't do. But I figured it would be a good idea. Oh my God, look at the difference. We'll get in tight, but yeah, I can see it. There is such a difference. This is just a cheap one off of Amazon. It's bonded. These are not as nice as the ones that are pinched in, which I have one over here. So this is actually the better variant that came out a little bit later. And you can see, you just buy the rubber and you can pinch it in, and it's got a bigger diameter wheel, which gives you a little bit more torque. You can see the difference on these. Big difference. Diameter. One's over 5 inches, and I think this one's like 4 or something. I forget. So you're getting, and again, this comes apart, so you just buy the rubber. Whereas this one, you have to buy the whole thing. So hopefully it fits. It looks like it does. It looks like it's correct. But there's a big difference in the rubber. Like, we have like a sliver of rubber left here, and it's all flat. This has kind of got a bit of a tire crown to it, like this one here, where the bottom is, where the seat is wider, and then the top is sort of beveled in a little. Let's go take a look. Well, I was going to take this all apart. Let me see that in there. Oh, what a difference. I mean, you could see here, and then there's like nothing left. We'll see it better later. I think I gotta charge my light. Oh, what a difference, fellas. It's really gonna make a big difference. So we'll probably take everything back off, because we got to pull this out, so we need room. So we're going to take the tires back off. But look, everything is nice and lubricated nice. Everything looks clean. We tried everything out. We know how to kind of deal with this and the tension. We won't have to do the belts again. And if I want to put something here, we could do that another day. But everything will be nice in here. We'll disconnect this up here. Just slide this right out, because I didn't bend it over because it's not fully adjusted. We'll have to readjust that. Yeah, it's going to be good.
The next day.
All right, fellas, you can really see the difference here. Wow. Yeah, let's put it like this. Oh my God. What a difference. Now, when we take it apart, we'll see it better, but hopefully this works, because it's such a difference. See that? Wow, I gotta go loosen up the cables. Let's just pop this off. So this goes inward, and this goes, so this is my right, with my right hand, and this is my left side. And when you grease, put some grease in here. Okay, you can put some chain wax, but this actually gets greased. Originally, it's greased. So you can drop some chain wax in there, also through here. You can try to pack a little grease in, and this is where we want those washers. Since it got lost, so this is a machined washer. We have this one here, and this one's got like a bit of a cup to it, but it's not quite, I don't think the diameter is quite there. Like we could use something a little bit bigger, so I'm going to poke around for that. They go on this, and then the finger thing that grabs it, right, that's what lays into that sort of slot. So let's see, let's pop this off. It's basically 1/4 20. I'll wipe some of the grease off of the outside of it. So this is the same. Holes line up. And look at the difference in the meat. Yeah, fellas, we lost a lot. This ring is done. This friction ring is done. All right, I'm just going to wipe this out. And let me think about how I want to put, I mean, we don't want extra grease in here. There's no point having grease all over everything. But this is all lubed well. We've done that already. And I did spray some chain wax in here, which is typically what I do. So I could say that at some point they did improve on this. Not that I've ever seen an issue with it, but I think they just started to use more conventional stuff. Like this allows for some flexibility. Okay? That's why I said you want to get some chain wax in this. That's fine, or chain lube. We'll wipe those down too. All right, I got some goodies. So I have a little bit of white lithium in the spray. I got to get more. I'm going to leave this out. Should have ordered it some. We'll go in here and let it float in, because that's really where the bearing is. And this, don't forget, this gets like a dry lube, so it's a penetrant at first. Yeah, we definitely want to get some lube in there. You can also put some chain wax in that. Okay, get it down in there. This white lube is probably that and this stuff. So white lube and a little chain wax in there. Yeah, that sounds good. Get some more chain wax into that. I mean, it should have a real grease put inside of it, but you're going to have to get something that's going to find its way in. I don't know about packing grease in there. I don't think you really need to. There's no way to really get it in. You know, you don't want this leaking. So chain wax and white lithium will dry up and stay like a grease. Drop this piece in down there, then slide the shaft in from here, pass it all the way through. It gets a washer and then that pillow block, same thing in the other end. Then we'll try to bolt it in. You're not going to be able to see. So those fingers here, we've got this disconnected, we've got this disconnected. All right, because we're going to have to recalibrate. Remember down there you want some lube, down there where it sort of lays, it's just sort of spinning on that. We'll try to get those washers in. And yeah, let me keep going. Yeah, that's good. So you see the washers? Now watch that one there. So this is the washers that I was showing you. Okay, so that's all the way to the end. All right, and that's actually too far. See what's left there? All right, you wouldn't have it that far. It's actually off the disc. But when you bring it in to the very end, which is about where it should go, I think that's appropriate. And as you come in a little bit more, all the way to the other way, okay, see the swing? Reverse, forward, that kind of thing. All right, I think we're going to be fine. So it's all looped up, back together. Now we got to do the adjustments for everything. All right, you can see she's all the way on the end. All right, but this, it's still, if we bring this up, it should still be, it's like barely on the end of this. But because there's a bit of a taper here on a new piece of meat, I think we're okay. So I left it like that for now, because there is a bit of slop in this mechanism. You know, you can't help that, and you're going to have some. So that's up in 6th gear. And when it comes down to first, this is what I was noticing the other day. All right, we'll come down to first. That gets kind of happens as things get sloppy. So the pin is in it for now, temporarily, you know, just shoved in there. So it has to be, it's kind of almost dead center. It may not do anything there because it really needs to be over a little bit. To bring it over a little bit, it would have to come over this way. So I think we're just going to leave it like that for now. Let me find out what tension I want to put this at. So I'm going to go do that, and then we'll bring it out. I'll put it back together. We'll bring it out for a test. All right, so this is adjusted because it needs a little bit of clearance in order for it to move, so you can see where it is. And then down here, there's a touch. Is the light on? Hold on, I'm going to put a little light on that. There's a touch of clearance on that so that it can move. And when I went to that one notch tighter, it wouldn't move. So you need clearance. Let me wipe all this off with some brake cleaner. I'll get the wheels back on, and then we can test it. So I wanted to show you guys, look, when we're all the way over to the end in 6th gear, we also have a collision here with this bolt. See it? So let me see what I can do about that. Yeah, this won't move. So I'm just checking over everything. It's just hitting. And if it comes over, it doesn't require much to get out of its way, but that would have wrecked that rubber. So let's pull that bolt out and shorten it. Let me see how much I want to take off and see what I can do about that. Okay, so as long as this stays aligned properly, shouldn't be a problem. I did trim it. I used another bolt. I trimmed it. It was perfect. I also used a fresh nut with a fresh nylock on it, and it's tight. And again, as long as everything stays where it needs to be, it shouldn't hit, but if there's any movement or excessive or otherwise, it shouldn't hit. So again, a little bit more clearance, just checking over everything. I hope to just kind of, you know, end this, get it adjusted, and then it's done. All right, it's almost dark, but we have a little bit of time. So we know it runs pretty good and everything, but we need to sort out everything else. I guess we'll go with medium choke. I've been tossing and turning this thing. let's just try gears and everything else just to see. I mean, hopefully we've nailed it. All right, let's let it warm up. Feels good. Second gear, that is. Let's try first. Okay, so first gear came in hard, but in reverse. That's actually first reverse. And that's second reverse. That comes in hard. Let's go to second. Oh yeah. I can barely hold it. That's six. All right, that's first gear. All right, now first gear reverse. First gear forward. Sixth gear. Nothing. Must be off the end. Yeah, fifth gear's fine. There we go. Yeah, it's falling off the end. Yep. What I'm seeing happening is in six, it's coming too close to the end. It's coming to the chain. You're getting bolts hitting, the heads of the bolts hitting the chain. One thing I noticed is there's a bend here in this rod. Okay, I think what we should do is take this off and then maybe put a washer up in there. Also, we might want to tighten this up a little bit. The shifter's a little wobbly, so I think we should take a look at that. But where it is right now, it works in all the first gears, first and second reverse, first drive, up to fifth gear. Six is too close. So I think we're real close. I'm gonna go over that, but I think what I'll do is, like I said, let's see if I can straighten out that rod. Everything else is working good. We've lubed in up at here. I might put a little bit more lube while it's up. I'm going to just service that. These locks seem to be working pretty good and stops. Maybe a little bit more lube on that. It's running really good. It's fine. It's excellent. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take this bend out of this rod, probably because it's been tweaked too many times, and tweak it, and I'll readjust it. And I think that the next thing we'll do after that is we're going to get to the scraper and everything. We'll make adjustments there, and then we can put some paint on it. I don't know if you saw it, but it didn't matter which handle I hit, auger or traction control, she jumped forward. This is a little too tight, even though it's in slack right now, because this is a little too tight. So if you remember this spring down here, remember I said earlier, see how tight that is? And this up here is tight. So what we need to do is correct that as well. So what we'll do is we're going to take that back off, loosen it up. We're going to move this pulley in, like I had mentioned, and then we'll start again, because it seems like we're getting real close. Remember, this whole handle got jammed forward. It bent this and actually broke a piece of it. It's actually somewhat racked. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but I can kind of see it. I took most of it out. This handle, side of the handle, is up higher than this one. So, but I did push them, both of them upwards when I tightened it, because that's the direction you're generally going to be pushing it. So it got a little bit tweaked, a little bit racked. Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when they get abused and neglected. So we're going to sort that out as well. All right, so this is the spring here that I mentioned earlier. All right, and that's the spring that pulls on the tensioner for the drive system. And it's just sanded tension. So that seems to be working good. I didn't feel any slip or anything. All right, I cleaned this off because we're getting ready to do a little touch-up paint. Before I put everything back, okay, because we get these nice shoes that I put on. This one's the original one, but I got the other one as well. So before we do the adjustment and all that, I figured I'll touch up this paint, just put a little something behind it. But this whole thing here is getting a little bit bent and tweaked, and it's got burrs on it, it's a rolled edge, which is what this is supposed to help, because I'm sure everybody knows how when you turn these machines and you're really plowing into stuff, very often what will happen is this will bend. And it is a little bent. So to help with that, now this one's really for a smaller machine, but essentially this gets locked in. So no seize, grease, something. I know a lot of people don't have this stuff, but I just wanted to show you guys. It's just gonna fit. Some of these are a little beat up on the edges, so it's hard to get some of the nuts started on the bolts. Yeah, and then once we kind of get it where we want it, and you can see it really covers over the edge in the front. It allows us to do this, because this edge gets really beat up, and we'll see it a little bit later, but it's actually missing some material along the front. It's been rolled back. All right, so this side is basically done. I had to cut it here to make a little bit of a clearance, and we just need to adjust it. But I touched it up, a little bit of paint, so it looks a lot better. This side is definitely better than the other side. This side got really bad, but we cleaned it all up. So what's kind of neat is now what I'll do, you see the edge here? And you can see the edge over here, right? So I got it straightened out, I deburred it, and then what you do is with this slot, kind of snug it up, and with the slot, just sort of knock it down, and then kind of line it up where you want, how you like it, cover over the edge that's been damaged, get it to where you want it, adjust this in a little bit, you gotta humor it back and forth, and then I just put a little mark and drill a hole, and then tighten this up, and we'll leave this loose until we're ready to adjust the bottom section here. And yeah, that'll come out nice. Yeah, I'm just going to finish that up now. The other thing that happens is when you're writing it in the wrong place, you'll start to get, I actually see it, a split down there. That's a weak spot. Now, it can't go very far up because we got a weld there. Yeah, and then I actually see that weld starting to crack, and we got a weld over there. But in the future, we may have to tuck that, tuck a weld into that corner. But I think we caught it just in time. And we're going to want to take this off because I can see how damaged it is over here. So we'll take that off later or tomorrow, and we'll clean that edge up and lay the thing back down. We'll put some, no seize on all these bolts. If they come off, replace whatever we have to. And we'll get that edge cleaned up. So that'll be tomorrow. But yeah, it's coming up good. I'm just going to finish this up. All right, so I disconnected the cable. So now this is slacked. And we see the nut over here. I don't know if it's a slider or if it's just a second section. But what we'll do is we'll loosen this up and we're going to move this forward. And then we'll see about dropping that down and getting a better adjustment over it. Because as you come up, you'll be tightening the belt. So we'll see if this helps. This gives us a more broader range of movement and a little bit of slack in here, because there's there was no slack in that. It was like literally on the spring pulling it. So let's see if we can resolve that. First gear. Let's do sixth gear. do fifth gear. All right, fourth gear's working. Let me work this out. All right, here we go, first gear. Now we'll do fifth gear. Now 4. 1 forward, 1 reverse, 2 reverse. All right, quick test report. So underneath here, you see here, this is the one-handed operation mechanism. And one of the things it needs is down here. Actually, I want to make sure that's tight because that's moving a little bit more than I want. But it needs a touch more slack in this cable. But because what's happening is this is staying a little taut. So when I grab, I grab the auger, see how it's still moving. And this is too taut. I can't really balance these. So what'll happen is that when you're in auger control, if you just want to hit the auger, she will move a little bit. And if you push this forward a little, see? So there's still something. Remember, this whole handlebar got jammed and pushed forward. My thinking is leave it. It just engages it a little bit. If you're going to be engaging the auger, you're going to be moving forward. It's just a little bit. It doesn't always do it. My guess is the cables will stretch and those belts will stretch a little bit, and it'll probably be fine. Not to mention, I'll be pushing on this, and even though the bolts are tight and everything, we're not really sure what's going to loosen up, and it could wind up getting tighter, and then the problem will become more pronounced. I say just leave it. Instead of trying to chase a ghost, the machine got a little bit beat. So that's one of my concerns, but it's not terrible. I'm aware of it. And it doesn't really take off. It's not like fully engaged into a forward drive mode. It just puts a little bit of power to the wheels. Remember, that disc is also brand new. I'm going to just clean this off here a little bit with a wire wheel, and we'll hit a few things. So I think that's all done. I straightened this out a little bit, and I was able to go through the adjustment again. And I have first gear and fifth gear. Sixth gear, it misses it. So I'm going to cap that off. Now I can put that cotter, bend that cotter back properly. And to just give you an idea of how close I am to all of the adjustments and why I say don't bother going any further, is I actually started off where I showed I didn't have first and didn't have six or whatever, and I threaded it up, I think, 2 full turns, and then I got the gears I wanted, and when I came out 1 turn, I lost first. So I brought it back up. So this is, remember, there's all slop in here. So we're literally talking about the difference between a turn or 2 on this adjustment before I lose the most important gear, which is first. Because it was going in reverse in first. We don't care about 6. We don't need it. It's really fast when it occurs. If anything, I think I'm going to block it out. There's no more adjustment I can really do. We're really splitting hairs. The machine got damaged is really the point I'm making. So let me finish that up. Yeah, I don't think there's any other adjustments. I can just finish up the paint. You see these belts are starting to wear in, which, by the way, now that I move this forward a little bit, and yes, it's on a slot, now this is coming in contact. That's like your brake. That stops the front auger from spinning too much for just like freewheeling. So now that brake is actually starting to come on, which is why you see a little bit of wearing on the belt. It wears belts. But that's the brake that they have. So that's all lubricated. We're good there. I'll put a little bit of lube up here later, and we'll tighten this up a little bit. I'm going to do that before I finish painting. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else we can really adjust, fellas. Would be splitting hairs. The RPMs is fine. Top RPM is good. The lower RPM seems good. I should just leave it. All right, let me fix this. Just do a couple of things. Oh, one more thing. I'm going to find a bolt or something to stick in here for 6th gear, because you don't really want to get into that gear. So I'm going to put something in there as a stop. And the reason is I showed you earlier, it's taking the disc, the rubber disc, and it's shoving it too far over, and it can impact the chain or fall off the edge. That would just be causing problems. So let's cap that off so there aren't any problems occurring in the middle of the snowstorm somewhere. So I'm going to do that too. So I got my list of stuff. I'll be back in a bit. No, I haven't painted that at all. That look good? There's a lot of clear, but not really down here. But yeah, this is just gacked. It's like missing over 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16. It was just cocked and left like that. It was loose. I'll clean this up tomorrow. I'll pull a straight edge from, this side over here. And I'll bring it outside and we'll ground it flat, and then I'll put a bit of a bevel on it and put it back, and then we can adjust everything. Most of it has been lightly painted. There's a little dust on it now. A little clear, touch of clear, a little touch of black. Not a lot. You'll get a better look at it tomorrow, but kind of just poking around. It's nice to add a little bit of clear up here. I had to glue a few things back, but I missed a lot. I was missing a lot of it because it got blown off. But if you want to keep your stickers, especially your product tags, put some clear over it. Even if you just do that, bury it a little bit in clear. It's looking really good. It'll be done tomorrow because I got a lot of other things to do, and we'll give it its final test.
The next morning.
You can see the mess here. So I'm just going to take my grinder, we're going to clean this up, but we don't want to really remove any material. Just want it clean, and then we'll pull a line from the small end to the big end. We'll measure from here up, and I'll find a place to humor it. And then we got to remove some material down here so that we can get an adjustment out of it, and we'll have to put a bevel on it. So you'll see that in a bit. I'll bring you back. This is how bad it is. All right, well, we'll try and humor it, but you got to keep it relatively straight, otherwise you're going to get a weird cut on the bottom. It's almost easier to just flip it, I'll be honest with you, and just use the other side. We'll put a bevel on the other side, because this is bad. So I want to see how that works out, because it might just be easier. This is equidistant, these holes, for the most part, especially now at this point. There was more material. You could see there was more material to this side originally than there was. Then now, look what we are here now, right? So you see what I mean? So this is, yeah. So we're probably better off just flipping it. Get rid of the burrs and everything on here, and then we'll put a bevel on this side and flip it around the other way and start again, because look at how bad it is. And you can see there's very little material left here. This is now way more material on this side we can use. And of course here, even if we humor it a little, you're going to have a lot less material to work with. Let's try that. This is the old bead edge, but we got a nice new edge now. And I don't make it sharp. I leave it, it's pretty dull. It's got a blunted edge, and I don't make it a big rake because we're going to be hitting this again in the future. And keep in mind that this is going to be about 2 paint sticks worth of spacing to the ground, right? Because I'm going over a very uneven, well, I don't have any concrete, really, to speak of. So this has to go over sand, gravel, grass, wherever I want to clear back here, and it's going to be retracted up, and this will give us at least something of an edge for some of the, kind of cutting, because you don't want it absolutely blunt. It's nice and straight. It's not really going to be in contact with the ground so much, and then we can come back later on and tighten it up again. There'll be plenty of material left. If you make it really like knife edge, then you're going to run into problems, right? You're going to constantly run into issues. So I'm just going to clean this backside off a little bit. I noticed it's got some burrs. So I just did it with the hard stone, because you don't want to use something like this to try to cut material in a lot, right? To put another thing too is it's soft, so you're not going to get a nice, clean, straight sort of edge, uniform depth and everything. You want something a little bit harder. I gotta get some more of those. Let me just clean the back side up real fast because I feel some burrs. And then we'll go mount it and we can adjust it. So you can see I turn these around the other way. I kind of understand why they would be turned around. It would give more bracing to this steel here in this pocket. But the problem with that is these shoes were welded on. And so this is the one that I don't know if it came original or somebody added that. But now they're actually facing the wrong way. So rather than cut them off, I turn them around because the scraper will hit. It'll get caught up underneath that turn on the actual shoe. So, and then the original bolts, the flat in the carriage bolt is too long, too deep. And so the nut won't tighten. So I changed out that hardware. And then what we'll have to do is we'll get all this adjusted. And then these are the edge protectors. I'll either take this off or whatever, we'll put it back, but it'll lay correct. But I think overall this will give me very good strength. It'll add good protection, and then we can get this adjusted properly. Because really the idea behind this, it's not just a scraper, it's also your barrel protector. You want to protect the barrel. Ultimately, who cares about scraping anything, really? I can see there's a little bit of a crack forming there. I think I mentioned that already. Also back there, you'll start to see that. So, all right, let me keep going. We're almost done. Now that's a little bit long, but that's okay. We're all right. So this is installed. I just had to remove a little material down here just to fit it a little bit better because it came from a different machine. But this is quite strong. And not only does it add a bit more strength to the end here, but you're going to be able to stop the dents and the potential other issues. Paint sticks are in there. That's all tightened up. I'm just going to check for tight one more time, put my wrench on it, but just to make sure. And I'm going to move to the last thing. There's not much left to do, so we're on this side. We're all good here. We're all lubricated. The only thing I didn't put any tires or rubber or anything like that for the turbocharged, supercharged rotor. That'll come another time. We got a big storm coming. Let me keep moving. All right, I just pulled off 1/4 inch. This was 1 inch, basically measured tip to tip. It's now 3/4 inch. And when I was able to get it off a little bit easier, and now I should be able to put it on a little easier because at one point we had so much tension. I think that'll help a little bit with some of the issues up here. Just wanted to also point out that I tightened this up a little bit. I tightened this one up just a touch, but you don't really need it. But that one really, more than anything else, I think we're okay here. But I am noticing that does look a little bent. I don't know if that's supposed to be that way. Yeah, that one's bent a little bit too. All right, just want to go over the last few things. All right, guys. Well, will all of this work pay off? I don't know. They're threatening a storm. It's a nor'easter, but we could get inundated, be high winds, drifts. Or it could be rain. Usually it rains first because it's warm out now, and then it'll probably rain and make mess. Could be a lot of snow. We'll find out. We'll find out. But it's done, and it's got a full tank of gas. It's got our fresh oil. We got the plug in there. It's like a new plug. It's all clean. We took apart the carburetor, went over the fuel system, cleaned everything out. We did the ignition system. I mean, everything has been washed, cleaned, filed on, grinded on. Motor runs good. We replaced the belts. We did mock-ups and whatever, trying to sort out what was going on inside the transmission. I had to mount the handlebars because they ripped away and bent a bunch of things and ruined stuff there. Missing washers, missing hardware. It's amazing how much you can cover on something like this. We got a new friction wheel for this thing. All the lubrication, all of that additional cleaning, and the technical stuff, right? Some of the stuff, the adjustments. We come down to a little bit of the paint. I had to deal with the scraper, was a mess. We had to deal with stuck pins in there. We got the transmission a little bit more lubricated. We did inspection. There's some damage. I had to bend back the auger blades. I put on this nice brackets down here and added a shoe and the edge too. The blade that's in there. This Even this thing here, this guy here was a little rusty, right? And a little sticky. And the rotator thing, right? That was a little crappy looking. So that got a coat of some paint. We went over even the electric start. And again, the more adjustments back here after we got all the belts and everything on there. Then I added the bolt. I just added the bolt in up here. We had to chase out what was going on here. Got rid of 6th gear. We don't need it, but we got 5th. We're not going to accidentally go into 6th gear. She's tweaked. I just did a last minute tweak on this cable. I did the other tweaks the other day on the other rod. Mostly because this damn thing was just busted up. But look at it. Like when you look over the whole machine, it's not a rusty piece of crap. This is what, 2003, I believe. I'll check it again, but I'm pretty sure it's 2003. So this is at least a 20 to 21 year old machine. In fact, I see different dates. I think I caught a date where I believe the motor is a 96. So, well, yeah, you're sourcing parts from different areas. Even that thing up here got adjusted. The spring even got sprayed because it was all rusty. But all of this stuff is quick, but it adds up. And my thinking is, it's done. Okay, other than maintenance, it's going to get tossed around, it's going to get used, then it will be neglected for a period of time, especially in the summer. I'll probably shove it up on its face. Oil will leak out of it. The last person that had it, they kept it in a shed, but they really roughhoused with it. And what really is odd is that, yeah, there was some scratches, some other things, but there's not a lot of paint wear or wear in the tub. There is some wear in there. It definitely picked something up and bent something. But there's not a lot of use in this. Now, we tend not to get weather, but then if we get a nor'easter, depending if the temperature's right, we'll get a lot. And that could go for a few years in a row. If you guys are interested in doing something like this, go out and find yourself one of these machines, even if you have to get 2, because I think you're going to find that you're going to be very happy with the results. Make it a project for yourself. And of course, if you wanted to sell one, that's a different story. I don't want to get into that. I would need to sell this for a decent amount of money, which in a really deep snowstorm, it would sell. Over here, other times of the year, no, it's not going to be worth much if it doesn't snow a lot. Last year we had no snow, not going to sell. But for yourself, for something nice, and you know me, I like my Craftsman machines. I like these green machines. It was kind of sad to get rid of that little rider. And Mikey helped me out with this, so shout out to Mikey. And shout out to everybody that's been checking out my channel. Thanks for stopping in, and I will see you in the next one. I'm going to go drive this thing around, give it its last drive for today, just check everything else out, pull it into the garage, nose out, get ready. It's getting late. It's tomorrow's the sort. I'll see you later.